Good day. Today we have a live stream on the topic of prosperity. We will do day 3 of the prosperity marathon. And if you haven't done the first 2 days, that's okay. You don't need to do it in order to join this class. You can join this prosperity marathon just from today. We're going to do a really interesting topic today. And it's not just interesting, it's actually a superpower that we have. And today we will do this topic on prosperity because it is easily the number one topic if you want to continuously grow in prosperity. If you have this ability, this superpower, you'll be able to always grow your income and reach every single goal of yours. So today we will cover this topic of prosperity. And for the class, we will also do some meditations so that you can start to unlock this superpower. This is the most important in terms of learning and being able to create prosperity in your life is the meditations that we do. It's not just learning everything, because you can learn everything. You can have all the knowledge of Kundalini Yoga, but it will change nothing in your life unless you do the practices. So today we will, you will listen, I will talk, and then we will do practices to unlock the superpowers of the brain. So, what is the main thing that allows us to have energy, to have focus, be able to process everything? If we think about it on a biological stance, it starts with the brain. In the highest yoga that I teach, Kundalini Yoga, and I teach it on the highest level, we always work with the brain. This is an incredibly important aspect and function in order to really be able to function in anything. Our ability to feel pain, our ability to communicate and to do anything in this world, really, to learn new skills, to be able to move our body, all of this comes down to how well our brain functions. This is one of the organs in the body that we do not take good care of because we don't feel our brain. We don't feel our brain or relate to our brain. We eat because we're hungry, but we don't eat in order to think about what am I eating and how does this affect my brain. One of the most important rules, and I would say only one of the most important rules that we actually only need is that to keep ourselves healthy and in order to practice Kundalini Yoga, there's only 2 things you really can't do, which is drink alcohol and do any drugs. That's it. I feel like there's no other rule that you really need in order to say that I want to practice Kundalini Yoga. These are the only 2 things, and it begins very logically. Why can't we drink alcohol when practicing Kundalini Yoga? A, because it kills the nervous system, it kills the brain, it kills your gut. It's horrible for us. It literally is poison to us. And same with drugs. And when we practice Kundalini Yoga and we begin to drink or we're doing any kind of drug, doesn't matter if it's just weed, if you think that's not a high classified as a drug, doesn't matter. All of this begins to kill the nervous system and can really damage us more because every practice in Kundalini Yoga is a practice that begins to heal the body, and it releases all of the stress, all of the tension sitting every part of our psyche, of our body, everything. So when you add something like a high stimulant that damages your nervous system, that damages your guts, that damages your brain, it can shock you and can create a lot of problems. So these are the 2 things that to do any kind of Kundalini Yoga practice you can't have. But also at the same time, this is a really, really important step towards self-healing, towards prosperity. Because if you continuously want to create prosperity in your life, but then you're actively taking a step, a very conscious step of making the choice to drink, you're very actively killing yourself. There's no one way or another about it. It's exactly what we do. So it counters the entire, not even just counters, but it nullifies your efforts towards a healthier, happier lifestyle. So drinking, drugs is a complete no if you want to practice Kundalini Yoga. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a choice we're making if you want to be healthier, if you want to be more prosperous. Because prosperity is not just making more money. In essence, prosperity is living a life that you're doing a job, you're doing everything that fulfills you. And at the same time, you are making money from it. At the same time, it is giving you financial freedom. At the same time, it is not killing you. This is why I have a lot of clients who come to me who are making 6 figures, 7 figures in their job. They have the means to buy their dream house and do anything they want, really. But their block is that they can make money at a company, but they can't make money doing a job for themselves or starting their own business. So this is how prosperity blocks can be very different for some people, where it's easy to make money if you're working for a big company, but not when you work for yourself, even though the skills are the same. Even though you are the one getting all the clients, all the contracts at this company, and you were the one bringing everything in. But when you begin to do it yourself, there's a block. This is one of the blocks of prosperity. In the highest yoga, when we want to work with prosperity, we always work with the brain, because our brain has the capacity to guide us correctly, better than even our mind, better than any coach in the world, any wealth, prosperity coach, anything else, really. Our brain has the capacity to create anything we want, do anything we want. The best example, my personal favorite, is talking about the master of Kundalini Yoga. When he began to teach Kundalini Yoga, Kundalini Yoga for thousands of years was kept secret. It was only kept and taught to a few students and passed down like this, just in silence, with only a few people knowing about it, so that the teachings wouldn't become impure and people wouldn't begin to start mixing it with other healings or other methodologies. It has to be kept pure. This is the way I learned for the last 21 years, how to learn and practice Kundalini Yoga. And when I began to learn about Kundalini Yoga, one of the first things I also learned was about the master of Kundalini Yoga, Yogi Bhajan. And he was an incredible man. He had the ability to heal thousands of people. And every single day he was doing consultations, showing them where their blocks were, why they were sick, how to heal chronic diseases. And at the same time, he helped people become millionaires. And he had thousands of people coming to him every single day. This man barely slept. And at the same time, he created multiple businesses. He founded a school, which I attended, Miripiri Academy. It's an international boarding school. He founded this school. He founded multiple organizations. He founded multiple businesses. One of his biggest businesses that he started and is still going strong today is a tea brand, Yogi Tea. I don't know if you have seen this brand anywhere, but it's everywhere now. I live around 25 kilometers outside of the city of Barcelona. And in the little small shops now, we see Yogi Tea. Like in the most small convenient stores, you see Yogi Tea everywhere. And this is a tea brand that Yogi Bhajan, the master of Kundalini Yoga, began. He founded this, and now it's a multi-million-dollar company. And he was doing this from the time he began to teach till the time of his passing. He was creating multiple businesses, All of his foundations till today have millions and millions of dollars in them. And he did this all by himself. And this is one of the abilities of the brain. This is why a lot of people came to him and they asked him, how do I grow my business? I'm not getting a job here. And so he was teaching every single person how to create prosperity in their life and how to really become successful, how to start your own business and become successful. One of the companies I remember, it was for somebody I worked with, Yogi Bhajan, the master of Kundalini Yoga, taught him how to begin his own security company. Because at that time, it was in the 60s in the US, and this man had a beard, a turban, and no police force wanted to hire him, even though he had the highest score and he graduated with the highest honors. And so he went to Yogi Bhajan and he's like, what should I do? I'm getting no offers, nothing. And Yogi Bhajan's like, why don't you start your own business? Start your own security firm. And he grew it, and they began to get multi-million-dollar contracts, and I think $500 million contract from the US government. And this was one of the special abilities of Yogi Bhajan, is his brain was functioning at such a high capacity that he was able to see precisely where all of your blocks were, why you're not making money, why you're unhappy, why you're chronically sick. And he knew exactly how to heal this. And he began to teach people. He taught hundreds, if not thousands, of meditations on healing the brain. Healing the brain. This is so, so important. And we don't even think about it. We don't think about our brain. We don't relate to our brain in any sense. Like, you don't wake up and think, oh, this is how my brain feels. Or just... you relate to your emotions, you relate to your feelings, you relate to, on some capacity, to your anxieties, to your fears, but you don't think about my brain. What am I doing for my brain today? And in general, with our brain, we can heal it, we can keep it healthy through food, through breathing exercises, but in order to unlock all of its capacities and in order to understand how we can use our brain in a way so that we're always creating cash flow, we're always going towards a life of healing, of happiness, of joy, and everything is in harmony. This is where the highest yoga comes in. I am talking about the master of Kundalini Yoga. The master of Kundalini Yoga, Yogi Bhajan, and his capacity to see and do everything. He created over 50 businesses. He founded multiple foundations. He founded the school that I attended, Medipidi Academy, an international boarding school. And he healed hundreds and thousands of people. And he did this all at the same time, every single day. There wasn't a day he needed a break or rest. Even when he was sick and hospitalized for working with thousands of people and trying to heal thousands of people, every single day he was still working, he was still healing. And every single day he was still meditating. Never stopped. And one of the things I learned from my teacher, the first meditation she ever gave me, was to work with the brain. Because I was with her in Moscow and she said, you're really depressed and you have no energy. This is why. Your brain has no energy. Which was really strange. I didn't think I had no energy because in general I was very energetic. I was always doing lots of sports and I was really hyper and I could talk to people all day. So in my mind I was like, I'm really energetic. But our brain, again, as I was talking yesterday and the day before, is that our brain very subtly hides our problems, our blocks. So for me, I always thought I was very energetic, but the main problem was that I had no energy, no focus, no desire towards prosperity, towards self-realization, towards my self-esteem and taking care of my health. This is when you have no energy. This is when your brain is blocked. is when you don't have the capacity to really look at the bigger picture. You have capacity to talk to people for 10 days and not sleep. And you have the capacity to watch movies all day, but you have no capacity, no energy, no will to exercise, to do yoga, to try a new skill, picking up a new skill, starting your own business. So this is how we began to work with him. So when I began to learn how to heal my brain, she gave me a meditation, my teacher, to work with the brain. One of the first things that happened is I began to have a lot of energy, and I started to see what I wanted to do with my life. What did I want to do with my future going forward? And I began to see what I wanted from myself as well. I wanted to feel more confident. I wanted to stop being anxious all the time. I didn't want to be depressed anymore. And I wanted to have the capacity to be financially stable living in Spain. This was one of my wishes. And so I began to work with the brain, and I began to actively take steps to create prosperity in my life. I found myself a job, a better paying job than the job I had been previously in, and I got double the pay. This was something I never thought was possible, but I did it in 1 month. And the second thing I learned was how to manage my state. Every single day, how do I feel more confident? How do I feel more stable? And to observe when my body would become sick or when it was stressed. This is the most important thing. If you want to be prosperous, you want to understand how to create prosperity in your life, you need to be very aware and sensitive to your body. When you feel sick, when you feel anxious, when you feel off, when you feel incredibly negative or down. And when you begin to work with the brain, in general, you start to feel less effect from your sicknesses, from your state. And you are easily able to manage everything. And for me, one of the best examples was anytime I felt terrible, I would go and I would do a brain meditation, and immediately I would be better. In 9 minutes, I remember one of my favorite brain meditations, which we will do today. It has the capacity to balance your entire state. And I remember one day, this was during COVID. It was before COVID was very, had spread and it became a massive deal. And just in the beginning phases where everyone was still allowed to go out and the stores were still open, I remember I was walking and I started to feel really horrible. Like my brain, my body started to feel incredibly stressed and tense, and I felt like I couldn't breathe really well. My brain started to hurt. So I went home and I was like, I need to sleep. But I was like, before I sleep, let me meditate. Let me do something for my brain because it feels horrible right now. And I did this meditation, 9 minutes. I slept, I woke up, and I felt perfectly fine. And then 3 days go by and I realized I've lost my sense of smell and taste. I couldn't smell anything and I couldn't taste anything. But I was like, it can't be COVID because I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel like shit at all. I feel good except for these two things. But I decided to go to the clinic and check it out anyways. I went and apparently I did have COVID. But I had no effects of COVID. And this was the healing ability of the meditation when you work with the brain. It's so, so powerful that even when you're sick, you will barely feel horrible. And it's true. Now, whenever I get sick, I recover within 1 to 2 days. I get food poisoning from someplace and I immediately can fix it in 30 minutes. And my body goes back into balance because if your brain becomes when we unlock our brain, our entire body has a capacity to balance itself and to give you the way towards anything you want. And for me, the first things were health and prosperity. This was something my brain began to show me the way to. And today what we want to do I'm talking about the brain from Kundalini Yoga at the highest level. Now, one of the first things that really happens when you work at the highest level of Kundalini Yoga and brain, and on the topic of brain in relation to prosperity, is really, really interesting. This is one of my favorite things that happened, and I will teach it to you as well in my upcoming prosperity workshop, which is when you begin to unlock the brain and you start to relate to what you want to do in life. Every single goal of yours will become a stepping stone towards the ultimate goal. And I'm going to give him a story and share exactly what I mean, because it's much easier to explain it in this sense. So one of my first goals was to move to Spain. And I had never actually visited Spain before I even had this goal and this wish. But I knew it in my heart. I was like, I want to go to Spain. I want to live there. I want to live not just anywhere in Spain, but specifically Barcelona. That I wanted to move here. And I never saw any pictures. I never saw anything about it. But it was actually reading a book that was written by an author from Barcelona. And he talked about Barcelona in the 70s and the 60s. And I fell in love with the city just reading the book, from the description of it. The Gothic cathedrals and just the entire environment of Barcelona from the way he wrote in the book. And I began to feel that this is where I wanted to live. This is exactly where I should move. And when I decided to do this, me and my partner both visited Barcelona together. And immediately we fell in love with the city. It had everything we wanted. And it was exactly where we felt we would belong and we could create our life. And at the same time, I'd never actually traveled or moved anywhere by myself without, unless it was school or it was my family. But to leave my family, leave Singapore, which is where I was born and I lived most of my life, to leave there and move to a foreign country without knowing anything, not speaking the language, and also having the least amount of savings you can possibly have. But I felt that this was really the place I needed to move. And so I began to work with my brain, and I made a wish during my prosperity workshop with my teacher. We had a special meditation, and she said, okay, make a wish now. And whatever wish you make true, it will come true for you. So I made a wish to move to Barcelona. And within 1 month, I moved to Barcelona. And that time, I was just on a short-term visa. So I was still looking for a way on how I could get a long-term visa. And everything I was looking up online and consulting with lawyers, none of it was an option for me at that time. And so I felt incredibly stuck. And I started to do, I was still doing a brain meditation at this time. And I began to try different things that I never thought would really work, but I was like, let me try anyways. So I started to look at different types of schools, different types of visa types that I could come and try, even though the possibility was extremely slim. And within 2 months, I found a way to get a long-term visa to live in Spain. And 2 months, I found the way. And at the same time, I also found, I got an opportunity from a yoga studio in China to teach there. And they already had a database of clients. So immediately I got 40 new clients from this yoga studio. And from the money I earned in this 1 month working with this yoga studio, I was able to pay for my visa and all the documents I would need to move to Spain completely. And it was completely shocking to me because it was the easiest thing I had ever done. But before that, before working with the brain, it was just so complicated. And everything I saw, everything I was doing was just, this is not a possibility. Oh, that's too much money, or I can't do this at the time. And when my teacher changed my meditation, she said, no, work with the brain now. This is the perfect time to do that. and you will find the way to make it happen. And immediately I was able to get an opportunity from a yoga studio, and at the same time the ability to move to Spain and have a long-term visa. But from there, what really happened was even more incredible. This one wish that I had of moving to Spain ended up being the nucleus for everything good that happened from there. Because then I started to have more wishes, more desires. My other wishes were, I wanted to be able to learn Satnam, which is a healing modality that you can heal your patients, your clients immediately in one session. And at that time, there were no teachers that I knew of in Spain. The only one I knew was in Russia. And I told my teacher I wanted to work with her, but I couldn't travel to Russia at all. And so she told me, you know, now that you're living in Spain, there's one teacher you can go learn from. He's in Madrid, you can contact him, and you can start to learn Satnam from him. And this was the start to me being able to learn this, not a lifelong wish, but a wish I'd had for 2 years, and I wasn't able to start. But by starting and making this one wish come true, I was able to come to a country where they had one teacher, and from him I was able to learn this dream of mine. And till today, it's become this dream where I can now go and study it and be able to learn how to heal clients very quickly. And another wish of mine was to move to a place that both me and my partner would enjoy and love. They would have good vegetarian food. And this is the strangest thing, but in Barcelona now, there's like thousands, hundreds and thousands of amazing vegetarian restaurants with my favorite cuisines, which there wasn't before. And at the same time, I always wanted to learn jiu-jitsu, but I never found a good club or good teachers to learn it from. When we moved to Barcelona, immediately I found a club that had just started like 3 months before, and it was the best teacher and the best club we've ever been to. Both me and my partner trained there. My partner became a blue belt there, and it was such an incredible thing that how did this one wish begin to create this ripple effect? This is the ability of our brain, where it begins to unlock and it begins to show you, and you start to realize, what do I want from life? And the most important thing is to understand that every wish we have is right. It is correct. There's nothing wrong with any of our wishes. Because subconsciously, we have a tendency to reject what we want in life. We feel that it will go against certain rules, certain things, or that our society will not accept it. So for me, this was another block that I was able to do, was as I began to focus on my wish to move to Spain, and then from there make it happen. From there, as I moved to Barcelona, I began to realize and began to become myself more and more and more. At the same time, it became incredibly easy for me to do everything I wanted. Learn Satnam sign, be able to travel to different places in Europe, which was another dream of mine, because everything now became much easier. And yes, we do have a fear that we will be judged. For me, this was definitely one of the biggest blocks, because I grew up in a very Indian household. My parents are also very religious. And at the same time, there were a lot of restrictions on me because I was a girl, I was a woman. And in the Indian culture, usually, on the majority basis, women are not treated equally as men. But at the same time, we have very different blocks. Example, Indian men have very different blocks than women. With the Indian men, they have a lot of blocks, not just Indian men, but actually every man, where they are responsible for the family. They are responsible for the family, therefore they can't just do anything they want. And they have to always do what is best for the family, not for themselves. So this is another form of prosperity block that comes up for men. And it's the hardest for them because they don't have the freedom or the societal support to just say, do what you want, don't think about the family. And it's a very painful block to work through. And also, this is a similar block that if you have siblings, if you are the first child of the family, you have the similar block where you feel you have to be the most responsible person in the family and you have to be the one to take care of everyone. Who has this block? For me, I definitely had this block, but I recognized, thankfully, through the highest yoga that I wanted to be able to be as prosperous and also to not be responsible for my family because I am not their child. I'm not their parent. I am their child. I am not their parent. And I always felt a lot of guilt that if I began to do something for myself, that I was somehow abandoning them. But something really amazing happened is when I began to work with my teacher on prosperity, I began to separate myself from them. They themselves began to step into their life and start to be more responsible for their happiness. And they began to take steps in their life that made them healthier and happier and more prosperous. And I very quickly realized that this guilt only comes from fear. If we feel we have to take care of our parents or we can't abandon them in some form, or if we do something, we're abandoning them, this only comes from fear. It's not reality at all. And we have the capacity as we heal ourselves, as we work with our brain. For me, this was really cool because since early age, my parents would always say, Harsimran, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about money, about prosperity, about business. And when I began to work with my teacher, I began to drastically take very different steps and actions from what they said was going to work and what was going to, the way the world worked. But I would always get results doing whatever I felt was best. And I never got results doing what they felt was best. This is another ability of the brain, is that we start to realize how to create life to make it work for us. Not for someone else, not because someone else made it work. And this is another example my dad in specific would say. He's like, well, look at how Elon Musk or this millionaire or this billionaire is doing it. But I would always think, and I never said this to him, but I was always think, how do we know what they're saying on the news or on their Instagram channel is true at all, or on their Twitter page? Because they can say anything. In reality, what they're doing is very different. And I always felt from a very deep meditative space that I had to create my own system to become prosperous. I had to do things my way. And this is one of the first blocks we have to go through, is that everything I want is best. Number one rule, everything I want, every wish I want is the most important. That's the most important. Second, I have to create my own system. What works for me? For some people, waking up extremely early in the morning and working right off the bat works for them. Or working out and then working works for them. For some people, it's easier to go to work and then go and work out. What is right? What is wrong? None of it. It just suits you. Whatever suits you, whatever is best for you, that is best. And this is the same when it comes to prosperity. We have to learn and to recognize what works for me best. What works for me best to get clients, to create a new business? How can I do it? How does it bring me joy? And when I began to abandon my fears and I began to unlock my brain, every step I took was exact. It wasn't the best choice for anyone else, but it was the best for me, and I would get results. And I began to earn an income and reach the same income my partner was earning, even though our steps are very different. And this is another really interesting thing, is that we both have the same job. He is a Sun Number Sign healer. He's also a Kundalini Yoga teacher. But the way we both work is very, very different. The steps that we take and the way we communicate is also very different. But we both get clients and we both have an income that matches. So how is it what he's doing is right or wrong? So one of the first things I actually began to learn, and this is something my teacher would always emphasize on in the beginning, is like, Harsimran, just do your thing. Do what you feel is best. Don't look at this other person. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. What do you feel is best? And I would always complain, and I would always say, I don't know what if it's going to work, and nobody else is doing this. And I was terrified to say, this is what I felt was best. But every time I followed through on just my own wish, it would always result in something good. Even when I failed, every time I failed from something, it only led me to understand myself better. Because the only time I failed really was whenever I was afraid. That's it. And everything else I've succeeded in has everything it has to do with being able to feel that this is the best for me. This works for me. This is what I want to do. And the best example I can give as well is one of my components for work, for prosperity, to get clients is I need to write. I write posts. I talk about Kundalini Yoga. I talk about meditations. I talk about how it can change your life. And I've always enjoyed writing. I've always enjoyed writing since the age of 10. I would create my own stories, and I would always get 10 out of 10 whenever I would write descriptive writing, had descriptive writing tasks or tests in school. But then I began to doubt myself when I started my yoga business, like, but I don't write that good, or I'm not really conveying really well, or it's so hard for me to really share what I'm talking about. But every time I would just focus on what I felt was best. Today I need to share this. Today I want to talk about this. People would resonate with that. And I would get clients. People would sign up for my workshops, for my private classes, for my seminars, my healing sessions. And looking back at it, I realized that it doesn't matter at all about being perfect, about being good. There's no good really. It's just about what you feel you need to do today. And each time we have any doubt, we just need to unlock the brain. We just need to unlock the brain, and the brain will give you answer to everything. And for me, this was really incredible because I kept trying it on myself. Before I taught any Kundalini Yoga classes, for the first year and a half, I was just training under my teacher. And I was applying every meditation to feel, how does it work for me? And how does it work when I apply it to this idea, this goal, this wish? And for me, it was a really interesting experiment. Imagine just being able to try a meditation and feel what it does for you. And I was able to feel how one meditation would have the capacity to give me complete focus, no matter how tired I was, no matter how much anxiety I was in, or no matter how much my parents or people were negative. But this meditation would give me the capacity to be completely focused on my task. And because I was able to be completely focused, it would happen. It would come true. And I would succeed in it. And so I would try another meditation. And I used to have a lot of migraines, a lot of headaches randomly out of nowhere. So I would try this meditation and see how would it work if I had a migraine. What can I do before I start to get a migraine? What prevents the migraine? What gives me a migraine? What can be done when you are having a migraine? And so I began to experiment with different prosperity meditations to see brain meditations on prosperity, brain meditations to see how it affects everything in our life. And for me, the best was when I began to unlock my understanding of who I am, what I wanted from life. And it began to give me a very deep understanding of these are my wishes. I want to wear this today. I want to go to this restaurant today. And every time I would follow through, I would always get a result. And for me, another one, as I began to understand that, coming back to post, because I used to always doubt what I was writing, whether or not this was really the best thing I should be writing. Will people understand? Is it coherent enough? So when I began to follow through, every single time I was like, okay, today I want to talk about this, how this has changed my life, and how this, working with this topic, I remember it was, at that time I was writing a post on Heart Center, and being able to feel that everything I do is correct. There's nothing wrong with my choices, with my wishes. As I began to do that, I wrote this post, and I was really in doubt because there was a lot of conflict at this time and I wasn't sure if I should be writing this. So I decided anyways that I felt this was right. I wrote it, and somebody that was following me on Instagram wrote me privately, and she said, I loved your posts. It was exactly what I needed, and I've been in a state of depression for 2 years now, and I feel so lost, and I really don't know what to do with my life. But after reading your posts, I feel so confident, and I started to take these steps in my life so I could become prosperous again and just happier and healthier. And she said, thank you so much for writing this. I want to send you a gift. Can you send me your address? And she ended up sending me, I still have this gift, by the way. This was 7 years ago. She sent me gold earrings with rhodonite stones. How? Why? And for me, at this time, when I was still navigating how to get clients, how to write posts, how to start social media, and I was very awkward about it, this was a really big and important sign for me to understand that everything I'm doing is right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it is right for what I am trying to convey, for what I'm trying to do. So much so that someone has decided to send me gold earrings. Pure gold. Out of nowhere. She's never met me. She's never talked to me. She read a single post, and this was enough for her. And it was so healing, so uplifting for her. And looking back at it, this post wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything special. I'll try and find it and I'll post it maybe on my stories. But it resonated because it's what I felt was right. It's what I felt was good. And this was an ability that I gained from working with the brain, because when you begin to work with the brain, you start to understand in yourself what is right, what you need to do, what you want from life. And more importantly, your standards, your wishes will start to increase, and you will naturally start to attract more prosperity in life. People will start to want to work with you because you will become the more authentic and more conscious of yourself. And your brain will have the capacity to start functioning much better, so everything you do becomes easier and lighter. And something as easy as working out will become easier. Something as easy as communicating or creating new projects and then seeing it through and getting clients for it will start to work out. Because your brain will start to function very quickly and very deeply. And this is something we cannot achieve through any medication, any kind of herbs, or even normal breathing. We have to work with it deeply and really unlock the brain. This is why I have seminars where we work 2 to 3 hours in one day, and we work with unlocking the brain because we need to do multiple steps in order to work with the brain. Not just directly do a brain meditation and immediately your brain starts to work. First, we have to work with the nervous system. We have to work with our anxiety. We have to open up the entire body. And then we can work with the brain. Then whatever meditation we do for the brain will work for us for the next 3-6 months. And this is another really important aspect, is as I continue to work with the brain, as I continue to do that, every step of the way, I remember I had one other wish I will share with you before we do a brain meditation, because we've been talking for some time. I had this wish. I remember I was looking at this channel and this person was selling a special type of mandala and jewelry. And it was something that was founded, he started this learning from the master of Sun Sign. And I really wanted this amulet for myself as well. But it was very expensive for me and I couldn't afford it at all. So I set a goal to buy it by next year. In 1 year, I would buy this for myself. And I started to write some posts, and out of nowhere, the owner, the founder of this company, reaches out to me and he says, I love what you're writing and doing on your Instagram channel. I would love to send you one of my amulets for free. You can choose the style you want and I will create it for you. And let me know how you like it. If you like it, you can talk about it. If you don't, you can just keep it anyways. And I was completely shocked. Out of nowhere, I've met this owner before when I was 11 years old. And out of nowhere, he saw my Instagram channel. He loved what I was writing, what I was doing, what I was talking about. And he decided to offer me a partnership. So he sent me the amulet for free. And on top of that, another really special thing is that he asked the master of Sun Sign what kind of mandala he should put in my amulet. So I got not only the amulet completely, which was like one of my biggest wishes. I wanted to be able to pay for this. But I don't know where he also got the master Sun Sign to select exactly what I needed at that time. And the funny thing is, this mandala he selected for me, the master Sun Sign, was called Awaken. And he said, yes, this is so that you awaken to yourself and you understand who you are and what you need. And I was laughing so much because I couldn't believe how quickly this wish came true. And I didn't have to do anything except for the steps that I was just taking every single day that I felt was right, even though nobody really understood what I was doing. And so I got this amulet for free, and at the same time, the master of Sun Sign selected it for me. And I really felt, and I started to understand why I needed to work with the brain and why the master of Sun Sign said I needed to work with prosperity. Because it gives you such clarity and shift. This is another really amazing thing, is that if you work with the brain alone, it can heal you a lot. It can give you a lot of changes. But when you work with brain and prosperity at the same time, that's when it gives you a massive boost. Because now you are taking that healed brain, that state of expansion, and you're giving it focus. You're giving it focus, and you know that these are your wishes, these are your goals. And so your brain starts to work with all of its expanded capacity, its healed capacity towards this goal. So your life changes much, much quicker. This is why I always like to work with the brain. Anytime I teach prosperity, I will teach the brain along with it. Because I understand that when you work with the brain and with prosperity, it's the shift and the change is incredible. It's massive. Easier and more tangible and visible. Not just changes in your state, but very tangible changes start to happen physically, financially in your life. So this is why I love working with the brain. And today we will do a brain practice. Before we do that, let's have some water. This practice we'll do is very, very short and it's very painful. You will hate this meditation that we're going to do now, but you will feel very good in 3 minutes. This practice is only 3 minutes, but we need to do this right now because you have a major, major block there. We're going to work with our brain now. And you will be laughing and crying in pain for 3 minutes, and then you will feel massive change and relief. I personally don't like this meditation at all, but I love what it does for me. This is really some interesting thing, is that most of the times you don't need to like doing the meditations. You don't need to like sitting down and beginning to meditate, but you can do it almost like a discipline, so that it heals you and balances you. And for me, this is what I like to do as an experiment. Anytime I feel awful, anytime I feel sick, I always like trying what meditations work and help me. And I always find that every time I'm sick, from COVID to food poisoning or getting the flu, I am always able to recover very, very quickly. And to the point that I almost feel no effects of the sickness. I just know I'm sick, so I'm taking care of myself, but I feel good for the most part. So we'll do a meditation now to remove this tension. The first thing we need to do is we're going to make our hands into claws, and we tighten the fingers. You see this? It's a claw, and we tighten the fingers. Now we need to, I'm going to bring the camera a little back. We need to bring the arms out to the side, and they don't need to be parallel to the ground. They can be slightly lower. This is going to be hard to show. And we need to raise our shoulders as high as we can until we touch the ears, or as much as we can towards the ears. So it's in this posture. You're like a scarecrow or a zombie. This is the posture. What's really important? Two really important parts. Fingers need to be in claw, and they are tight as you can make them. If you want your brain to really relieve the pressure now, we tighten the fingers, make it into claws. And then we need to raise our shoulders up towards our ears as much as you can. You can feel the tension already. Before we even begin fully, you can feel the tension of sitting in this posture. The neck and spine are straight. And we're going to do breath of fire through the nose. For those of you who don't know how to do breath of fire, you can relax the posture now down so I can explain how to do this breath correctly. What we want to do is inhale and expand your belly. And when you exhale, pull your belly in. Inhale, expand the belly, and exhale and pull the belly in sharply. So you can try it out. Put your hand on your belly button. Inhale, expand the belly, push into the belly button. Exhale and pull the belly button in. Like you have to do a ab crunch now. Pull the belly in. And we continue like this. Inhale, expand, exhale, pull it in. This is breath of fire, but we go faster. If you're new to this, you can start slow. But if you know how to do it, we go fast, normal as we normally do breath of fire. Okay, hands and claws. Bring it out to the sides. Keep your arms straight. Don't bend the elbows. It's not this. Bring your arms out fully straight. Tense your fingers. Now pull your shoulders up to your ears as much as you can. You hold all of your tension, all of your blocks here in the shoulders, and it blocks your brain. So we need to remove this block now. We're going to pull the shoulders up, keep the neck straight, and we'll breathe through the nose, breath of fire. And close your eyes. Keep the fingers tight. And don't drop your shoulders. Don't drop your shoulders. It hurts. This meditation is meant to be painful. So keep the shoulders up as much as you can. Don't move the body. And keep your fingers and claws. Halfway done. We are almost done already. Keep the fingers tight. Don't relax. I know it's very painful, but we only have 1 minute and 10 seconds left. And you will feel massive relief and your brain will unlock. Keep bringing your shoulders up, 30 seconds. Five seconds. Okay, inhale through the nose, deep, deep, deep. Hold the breath and keep the fingers tight. And exhale and relax. Relax. Relax the shoulders, relax your hands. And close your eyes. Okay. Have some water. How do you feel? We have relaxed our brain, and I hope you don't have to sleep for the next hour because you will have a lot of energy now, and you'll feel a lot of pain will start to leave. If your shoulders are hurting, it means your brain and your back holds a lot of tension, but it will start to go away. You just need to drink lots of water and it will start to leave. But yes, in general, this practice does hurt a lot. It doesn't matter how advanced of a practitioner, meditation person you are. This meditation, this practice, it removes any and all stress the body holds, and it brings your body out of all that tension and balances you in 3 minutes. So you can do this in the mornings. Better to be done in the morning than the evening with this one. But you can also do it whenever you feel you're exhausted, your brain feels very overwhelmed. You can do this. Okay. Today, what we can do is Who wants a personal consultation on prosperity? A personal consultation is where I will see where your blocks are, how you can create prosperity in your life. For that, we can do a mini consultation today. If you want, you can write yes now in the comments. And what I'll do is I will see where your blocks are and where you can grow, where you need to put your focus and energy to create a change in prosperity. Usually in this prosperity consultation that I do, everything I see allows you to completely change your life with prosperity. How to remove your main stress, how to actively move towards prosperity and get results. It's very, very powerful, and we can do this today. Okay, if you want this consultation, what we need to do is you need to write your full name, your date of birth from day, month, year, and the city and country you live in now, and what's your problem? What is the problem with prosperity? You can write, example, I'm unhappy at my job, I want to grow my income, I want to create my own business, I want to get rid of my debts, or anything you want. You can write, but you need to write the problem, full name, date of birth, the city and country you live in now. And I will show you what is the main block, what we can work with for you to create prosperity. What do you need now? We write it here in the comments. Full name, date of birth, the city and country, and the problem. Okay, let's do you first, Goran. Okay, for you, Goran, you you have a lot of creativity, a lot of ideas, but you don't follow through. And you always have a subconscious tendency to feel that you will not succeed. So you don't want to take any steps, you don't want to take any definitive action, because subconsciously you feel you will fail. And so you don't want to go forward doing anything. Not anything, but you don't want to really start and keep going and putting any energy and focus into the export business, because you really subconsciously feel you won't succeed. But you have a lot of creativity that you can really make money. And for you as well, if you balance your nervous system and you open the brain, you will make money very quickly doing anything you want to start this export business. And you can start making you'll have to tell me exactly what your goal is, but you'll be able to reach your goal of income very quickly, because you have a lot of creativity, and you have really a mind that can really go forward and make things happen. But you hide, but you don't start, because you have a subconscious tendency to feel that you will fail. Do you feel this? Do you agree? What would be really, really good for you, Goran, is I'll be teaching a prosperity workshop soon. And I'll recommend that you join this, because we're going to work with the nervous system, which is what you need, the brain, and also to remove the subconscious fear of prosperity. And you'll find that in the workshop as well, I will do mini consultations where specifically I will show you how to reach your goal income. So I highly recommend you join this workshop, because it's exactly what you need. And the workshop is already uploaded on my website. I uploaded it today, so you can go and see and check it out. But this will really be a good one for you, a prosperity workshop, because you have a lot of ideas that you need to see clearly and to create a proper plan and projection around them. And when your brain starts to heal and starts to unlock, you will also see not just the idea, but how to make money from it. This will be really, really powerful for you. Okay, for you, Sonia. Sonia Aurora. Okay. For you, Sonia, you have a lot of mental pressure, and it comes from your throat chakra. You feel very powerless, and you feel very small. Like you don't know, you want a lot of things, but you don't know how to get it. And you always have a lot of ideas, a lot of wishes, also a lot of creativity, but you don't allow yourself to have them. You have a subconscious tendency to reject your wishes and your desires, and you feel like you can't have everything you want. Do you notice this about yourself? If you're still here, Sonia. If you're here, please write yes. Yeah, perfect. What you really need is to free your throat chakra and to start allowing yourself to be yourself, to do what you want, and to start following and to make your wishes come true, one by one. Because you have a tendency to feel everything you want is wrong and bad. So you need to start to allow yourself all of your wishes and start with one thing. And then it will become easier for the another. And as you do that, when you start to do that, you will start to allow yourself to get to having a house. And you'll find that as you work with the brain, you will find much, much easier solutions to finding and having a house. I don't know if your goal is to buy it or to rent it, but you will start to be able to find it, to create it, to make it happen. If you remove the mental pressure and to remove the subconscious belief in you that everything you want is bad. If you start to allow yourself to have what you want, you will have your house and a lot more. Prosperity workshop will be really good for you as well, or throat chakra workshop. Either one is a good topic for you. You can, I have the prosperity workshop that's already available. We can work with that. Or you can write to me and ask about my throat chakra workshop. That will be in recording. I have already done this class this year and I won't be repeating it now. Okay, Khushbu, let's do you. Okay, for you, Khushbu, you have a lot of unresolved pain of the past. There was a lot of problems, a lot of pain that was caused to you in your past. And it creates a lot of pressure in the throat chakra. So this is why you have a hard time expressing yourself and you feel very stuck. And it puts also at the same time you feel your mind is very, very worried. You think every time you start to do anything, anytime you start to want anything, you start to feel and think about all of the pain that was caused to you in the past. And you're worried very much about the future, that if you do something, it will be bad. It will cause you more pain. You have a very deep fear of punishment, fear of the unknown. And it comes from the past for you. For you to work with communication, throat chakra, and also the brain. You need to work with the brain because it's very overloaded from all the traumas and stress of the past. So it's very, very tense from that. So you need to work with the brain and heart center. And if you work with the heart center, your throat chakra will open up. I will recommend you get my heart chakra seminar. I have a subconscious cleansing on heart chakra. Fears, I will recommend you get the tapes on that. Because here we really work with your main blocks. And we remove the problem in the throat chakra for you in communication. Do you feel like this? Do you notice that it's from the past, the pain? Yeah, true. Okay. I will get to you, Gauri, now. And Harinder, please write the problem. If you want a consultation, write what is the problem. Okay. For you, Gauri, you hold a lot of stress from everyone around you. It's as if you carry the entire world, everyone's problem on yourself, and you really block yourself from taking care of yourself. You put yourself last. Subconsciously, you have a lot of fear to just do what you want, to say what you want, to act how you want. And you suppress a lot of your desires, your wishes. And then you also take on everyone's stress. And it starts to weigh very heavily on you. Your brain is very overwhelmed and very stressed because you don't allow yourself to be you. And it makes you very subconsciously, internally, it makes you very unhappy at yourself. Do you notice this? Are you here, Gauri? For you, if you want to grow your income, actually for you, not just to grow your income, but to really be able to start your own thing, do what you want, have more money, not just grow your income, but really make 4 or 5 times more than what you have now, than what you're earning now. This is your true capacity. When you start to allow yourself to be you, and you start to take care of yourself, you start to do things for yourself, you will create a lot of prosperity in your life. You have a really great capacity for this. So for you, you need to prosperity workshop and to let go of all the tension and carrying everyone else on you. And you only carry them. The thing is, you can carry, this is for you and everyone else, we can carry people very differently. Not by taking all their stress and being affected by all of their blocks and their limitations, but we actually have the capacity to carry them in a way that they start to do their own thing, they start to solve their problems, and they start to become more prosperous. There's a very different way to carry people. This is the way I carry my clients. This is the way I carry people. My family, my parents, my partner, where I carry them very differently, not by taking on all of their stress and feeling like, oh my God, I can't do anything, I can't help them. But I go into a very deep healing state and I know how to help them solve their problems and also how they can solve their problems. So for you, Gauri, this is what you need to learn. How to not carry their people's bullshit, but really how you yourself can take care of yourself and they will want to take care of themselves. But for you, you really have a super ability to become very prosperous, to start earning 4 to 5 times more in the next year or 2, if you start working with prosperity now. So for you, don't procrastinate and wait for a better time. Go sign up for the workshop now, because you will really feel a massive change and shift in your life, a lot of clarity, and you'll really be able to make a lot more money. Okay, let's see who is next. Okay, we will only do 2 or 3 people more, and then I will finish the live stream, and we can do more people tomorrow for the personal consultation, okay? On prosperity. Today we'll do 2 or 3 more people. And then we will finish. Okay. Alcio, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Alcio. Okay, let's see. Okay. For you, Alcio, you have a subconscious fear of success. You're afraid of succeeding in prosperity. And for you, you have subconsciously linked from early childhood that when you start to have everything you want, it will cause you pain. There's a lot of pain in your mind and body when you think about prosperity. And in terms of romance, this also stems from this. You're afraid to be prosperous, to be stable, to have a income that's continuously there. Because for you, when you start to have it, you're afraid of something bad happening. There's a fear of the unknown and fear that you will be in more pain if you have what you want. Do you notice this about yourself? Are you here? I'll see you. Oh, there's some kind of filter on my face. Okay, I have no idea how I just did this. I think it's there. Okay. Yes. All right. For you, what you really need to work with, prosperity, number one, to work with your deepest fear on releasing your deepest fears and anxieties. And you will start to very easily create prosperity in your life. And it'll be very simple for you, actually. You have a great capacity to be very prosperous, but you hold yourself back a lot. And the thing is, you hold yourself back because you really associate it with prosperity. So every time, I don't know if you have this tendency, but every time you start to have money or you make big money, immediately you go back into a place where you don't have money, where it becomes really hard again. And you feel like it's hard to get clients and to keep your income growing. This tendency comes from this fear of money. And we're working with this in my prosperity workshop. We're going to work specifically, we'll have a full seminar dedicated on fears, subconscious fears. Because this is the main topic that every single person has. If you want to grow in income, you want to grow in prosperity and happiness, we need to work with fears. But for you, this is really the main topic. If you work with your fears, you will really feel a lot of relief. And immediately your brain will start to work for you. It will give you a lot of ideas and ways to earn money and to be able to move and do anything you want. So for you, this is really, this workshop will be really great for you. So I recommend to go sign up today because the early bird price will end very soon. And we will work with the brain, we will work with fears and really open ourselves up to create more prosperity. Okay, we'll do Harinder, how I can reach my highest self and my highest timeline. Okay. For you, Harinder, you are very disconnected with yourself. You don't really know who you are, what you want, and it's like you're living, but you don't really know what it's for. So you feel very, very lost. What you really need is to work with prosperity because you need to understand who you are, what you want from your life, and this is the way you will learn to be your highest self. and reach whatever it is you're looking for. But you feel very lost and you don't really know who you are. Like you have this in your identity, you don't know who you are, what you want to be. And there's a lot of suppressed fear. You have a hard time being yourself and really trying to even learn about yourself, because there's a lot of fear behind that. So for you, working with prosperity is most important because you feel very lost. Do you notice this about yourself? Please, if you want a consultation, I need your full name, date of birth, and your city. But today we are done. So Mal Reddy, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But tomorrow we'll have a live stream. It'll be the last live stream and we can do yours. But then you need to write your full name, date of birth, and the city you live in. And then we can work with finances and how to get it. This is tomorrow we will cover another topic of prosperity, and we will go further and deeper into this and really uncover how to create prosperity in our life. This is one of the most wonderful topics because it gives you a lot of insight to yourself, how to become healthier, happier, and how to relate to everything, but not from a place of stress, not from a place of limitation or from the past, but rather how to relate to everything from a state of expansion, of how can I take an idea and because I like this idea, become more prosperous. One of the best ideas I had recently, and I'll share this with you, this is actually the superpower of the brain, is I was looking at tattoo artists because my partner was trying to book a tattoo artist, and he was trying to book an appointment for 6 months ahead. And the tattoo artist emailed him back and said, no, we have no spots for the next 2 years. We're completely booked. And if you want an appointment, then you need to leave a 500 euro deposit that's non-refundable and for 2 years ahead. And I remember laughing at it so much because I thought, wow, this is such an incredible thing to have your schedule completely booked out, doing what you love, and people want to pay you thousands of euros to work with you. And that month, I decided that I wanted to start doing personal leadings, that I wanted to as well have every month where I would be booked out on personal leadings and I would lead people. And immediately I started to advertise it and I talked about it for 5 minutes and I got a client signed up and it was 1,000 euros. Immediately I got a client for it in 5 minutes. They said, I love what you do. I want to work with you. I want to do this. And then I continued to talk about it. And immediately in 1 week, again, I got another client. And then out of nowhere, someone who's never worked with me as well wrote to me and said, I want to work with you in personal leading. This is the idea. This is the smallest. This is actually just the brain functioning at the easiest level. Is that you can have an idea, you can like it so much that you start to do a few simple things and you start to get clients for it. You start to create prosperity in it. And just as I was saying earlier, I had this idea of wanting to buy an amulet a year ahead, and out of nowhere, the owner, the founder, reaches out to me and it's like, I want to give it to you for free. I will give you this thing. And it was, by the way, it was pure silver amulet with a ruby inserted, with a silver chain. These are very expensive things to be giving away for free. And people reached out to me. People gave it to me. And this is the idea we're going to do. It's not just I'm lucky and this is why it's happening. This is exactly what my teacher has taught me to do. How to create prosperity in every shape and form. And for me, it's incredibly interesting and it's incredibly fun to work with prosperity because you get to see results so quickly. I want to have more money. I want to grow, to move countries. I want to grow my income. I want to do what I love. How can we take simple ideas, simple wishes, and then create more prosperity in our life. On top of that, as we start to do what we love, people will start to give you more opportunities. Example, as I began to write my post, as I began to get over my fear of needing to be perfect and to really have everything clear, people, different yoga studios began to reach out to me. I've earned 20 to 30,000 euros from different yoga studios offering to work for me. They will advertise, and all I need to do is say what I'm holding, what I'm doing, and they advertise and they give me clients. So we can create prosperity very easily in our life. If we work with the brain and if we remove our fears, our subconscious block, it becomes incredibly easy. It doesn't matter how far-fetched it is. This is what we get to work with and what we will do in my upcoming prosperity workshop. I highly recommend you can go sign up for it now, because we only have 3 days before the early bird price ends. And we will very quickly begin in 2 weeks this workshop. And we will work deeply with prosperity. How to make our wishes come true, how to reach our goals, how to move past our subconscious fears and blocks. And things will become much clearer to you in terms of how to make everything happen for you in life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please, if you did this workshop, I did a consultation for you, leave a review. This is very important for me and also for yourself to see how much you have gained from this live stream. Tomorrow we'll have the last day of the Prosperity Marathon, and we will do something much more special again, and you'll really get to see how we can continuously create prosperity for you, for yourself, and for everyone around you. You know, prosperity is contagious, absolutely contagious. So you can do this for yourself, and you will start to infect positively everyone around you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please leave a review. I'm waiting to read them. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.